To resume after tea, we are under subhead 04, current transfer and subsidies, and we are at item 007, households, page 402 of the current expenditure. Item 008, we go with Mayor Rufus.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Minister, under line item 01, Agricultural Incentive Program, can you give us an idea of what is the outstanding sums owed to farmers under this particular program?
We estimate it's about $19 million.
$19 million. And what provisions are being put in place to settle these sums?
Well, there's an allocation for this year, $12 million, that would go towards settling what we have already, and we'll deal with any shortfall in the mid-year.
Just to expand on the subsidies, the issue around the rice farmers, they're still complaining that they haven't received their full back pays and so on from the rice mills and so on. Can you give us an idea of what is the outstanding amount and what provisions that your ministry is putting in place to settle those amounts this
I would have to
year?
give you that in writing, but I know it's payment to the rice farmers for the 2017 crop.
One more question, Minister. Under line item 04, relief for flood damage, any idea of the amount that is owed to farmers in terms of their claims for past damages, and taking note of the flooding, the extensive flooding today, what can you put in place, or what will you put in place to deal with? I am sure there are quite a number of claims that are going to be coming fast and furious at your ministry based on just the flooding alone today.
Well, the farmers are very familiar with the process for compensation for flood damage. The ministry's officers have been out since yesterday and into today, and as fast as the claims come, we will deal with it. But I'll tell you this, by October 27th, we would begin the payment of $12 million in compensation to 663 farmers arising out of Brett and the special arrangements the government made for Brett.
Member for Kumutu Manzelina.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 01, you indicated that they're owing, there are $19 million owing, and yet you have here $12 million in your 2018 estimate. That means, therefore, there will be a huge shortfall. How does the minister plan to disburse and differentiate and determine who will get payment from who wouldn't?
Well, the minister doesn't disburse. The ministry disburses based on a well-established process, and this figure would go towards settling some of what we currently have on hand to pay.
And the new incentive program that you have put forward, where young farmers will be getting $100,000, would this be coming out from line item 2 or 02 or 01?
No, that's a different line item.
Is the line item here at all?
It's in the provisions, yeah.
Naprimo.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Would the minister be kind enough to give a breakdown of the recipients of this $12 million? And in particular, how many would come from my constituency, if that is possible?
Sure, we'd provide it in writing.
Thank you.
Item 008, subsidies. Item 009, other transfers. I recognize Shogunas East.
Mr. Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, I am on line item 05. Tourism development facilities. Over the last 2 fiscal years, you may have consumed about over $3 million. Just for information, could you indicate what are these facilities, where they are?
Minister?
The ministry has a few what we call tourism development facilities. They include the Diego Martin Water Wheel, the Lupino Visitor Center, and facilities of that nature. And every year we do some maintenance work on all these facilities.
Any in Central Trinidad or South?
Well, not under this line item, but Carney Bird Sanctuary is in Central Trinidad, and that is one of the areas that we have resources that we put towards the maintenance.
Mr. Deputy Chair, just a follow-up question on line item
Follow-up, member.
02, the Youth Apprenticeship Program in Agriculture. I recognize that you had an allocation in 2017 of 1 million, but a very small amount was utilized. Could you indicate what was the reason for that low level of utilization?
That is because of an assessment we made on YAPA, and having spoken to past participants, including the parliamentary secretary, who is a past participant, the general concern is coming out of the program with some training, but not a lot, not having access to land, and not having access to financing. And earlier I referred to a new project that we launched in this fiscal year, which combines access to land, financing from ADB, and the training, and we tie it into the incentive program announced in this year's budget, up to 100,000 for those who qualify. We put all four together, and we believe we have a package that would be an incentive to people, young people in particular, who are serious about agriculture.
So this would be a subset of that amount?
It is, yeah.
Item 010, other transfers abroad, page 403. Kuva South, you with us? Item 010, transfers abroad, page 403.
No, Deputy Chair, I was had my hand up as it relates to 009 other transfers.
Other transfers. Okay, I'll give it to you. Proceed.
01, Livestock and Livestock Products Board. Mr. Minister, could you give us a status on the functioning of this particular board?
Mr. Minister.
There was a delay in the appointment of this board as I previously referred to study commissioned on the livestock sector and the work that has been done. And we intend to appoint the Livestock and Livestock Products Board as soon as you know, we believe that there will be a role for that board to play.
So, at the moment, there is no timeline.
There is no timeline.
Member for Mayaro. You okay? Kumutu Manzelino.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Line number 03, expansion and development of farmers market. Can the Honorable Minister expand on what is this?
Well, we have farmers markets across the country. The main driver of the farmers markets is NAMDEVCO, and this allocation is to supplement in instances where the ministry itself wants to do something on a farmer's market.
Member Fisher, go on us east.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 03, I noticed that the farmers market in Chaguanas is being held at the ministry's head office by the Diwali Nagar. But is there any intention in the future to utilize the NAMDEVCO facility, which was earmarked for a farmers market at Woodford Lodge?
Yeah,
Minister.
The intention, I've asked NAMDEVCO based on a request by the mayor recently to discuss with the corporation the use of that facility in Woodford Lodge as a wholesale market. And NAMDEVCO is already doing designs for a designated space east of the new building in Chaguanas to house a permanent farmers market.
Member for Kumutu Manzelino.
Thank you. 06, is there a functional land survey board?
Minister.
Yes, there is.
Item 010, other transfers aboard, page 403. Item 011, transfers to state enterprises, page 404. Subhead 06. Minister, you have some? Subhead 06, current transfers to statutory boards and similar bodies, page 404. 004, statutory boards, page 404. Member for Mayaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, can you give us a status on the ASTT in terms of whether they are fully funded? I understand that there was
Line
an
item to be specific,
Sorry,
member.
08, Mr. Chairman. Agricultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago. I understand that there were some challenges with their office space and vehicles and so on. What is the status of that organization?
Well, there was no challenge under this administration. I believe the challenges arose under the previous administration, and we've actually granted a very small increase this year to the ASTT.
Okay, members, we now proceed to draft estimates, statutory boards, and similar bodies, and the Tobago House of Assembly for the financial year 2018. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of the statutory boards and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly. 08, Agriculture Society of Trinidad and Tobago, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 515. 001, General Administration, page 515. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 515. 001, General Administration, page 515. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 515. 001, General Administration, page 515. 09, National Agricultural Marketing and Development Corporation, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 520. 001, General Administration, page 520. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 520. 001, General Administration, page 520 to 521. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 521. 001, General Administration, page 521. Subhead, Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chair. Under current transfers and subsidies, other transfers, 02, support for agro packing houses, NAMDEVCO. Mr. Minister, I see that you have virtually no allocation under the 2018 estimates. So does that mean that the packaging house at Castle will remain closed and not be utilized for the benefit of the stakeholders within the agricultural fraternity?
Minister.
Member, in response to a question asked by you in the House, I did indicate that the packing houses at Brickfield and Castle are going to be the subject of an request for expressions of interest issued by NAMDEVCO for the purpose of exploring private-public partnership in those two facilities. The zero allocation is simply based on the fact that NAMDEVCO is allowed to hold PSIP funds from previous years, and they hold a surplus in relation to that line item.
And just to follow up, with your permission, Deputy Chair, if this expression in what we would call public-private partnership doesn't become a reality, as we have seen with the Couva Children's Hospital, what will be the ministry's position?
Please.
I think we have to take the step of exploring, issuing the expressions of interest, and based on the outcome of that, we will determine what happens next.
Thank you.
10, Cocoa and Coffee Industry Board, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 528. 001, General Administration, page 528. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 528. 001, General Administration, page 528. 11, Zoological Society of Trinidad and Tobago, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 533. 001, General Administration, page 533. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 533. 001, General Administration, page 533. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 534. 001, General Administration, page 534. Subhead 04, Current Transfer and Subsidies, page 534. 007, Households, page 534. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. And we now move to the development program booklet. And we now go to page 170. Subhead 09, Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 170. Item 001, Pre-Investment, pages 170 to 171. Item 002, Productive Sectors, page 171 and 172. Member for Mayaro.
03, is that Mr. Chairman?
Are we now coming to that one?
Okay.
Item 003, Economic Infrastructure, page 172 to 177. And I recognize the member for Mayaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, line item 287, upgrade of fish landing sites. Can you identify which of these sites are proposed to be subjected to upgrades in fiscal 2018?
Member, you could provide that information now, Minister.
I would provide information in writing.
Okay, will be provided in writing. Item 004, social. Okay, sorry, member for
That's
Uto Manzanena.
038.
03.
8 on page 173. Can the Honorable Minister indicate what exactly will the this $200,000 be used for in terms of whether it's for research, reading, tracking? What can the Honorable Minister indicate what this will be utilized for?
Minister, 038, line item. What will be the...
Sustainable management of wildlife resources.
Yeah, sure.
That is for the ongoing work being done to review the Conservation of Wildlife Act with a view to bring into Parliament a bill for amending that piece of legislation.
So it's more or less consultation fees?
It is. It is work in relation to the redrafting of that piece of legislation.
Is this internal or is it an external source
At
providing
this time is
service?
internal.
Okay, thank you.
Member for Mayaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, line item 040, upgrade of recreational facilities at Cora River Recreation Site. I do recall that at some point in time there was the conversation about that site being managed by public entities to be self-sufficient, and that they're going to start charging for using the service. Can you tell us who specifically will be responsible for managing that facility, and where would the funds go in terms of whether it's going to go back to continue the improvement of the facility, or does it go back to the state?
Well, at this time, that facility is managed by the Forestry Division of the Ministry. At this time, there is no plan to introduce user fees for the facility. The facility does not lend itself for the charging of fees or anything like that at this time.
Member for Shogunas West. No, Shogunas East, sorry. My apologies.
So, Deputy Chair, I'm on page 173, line item 033.
Proceed.
Honorable Minister, could you give us some more information with respect to the 500,000 allocation to outreach, community empowerment, and mobilization planning projects?
That is in relation to the environmental bus that goes around the country supporting education in schools.
Member for Kumuto Manzelena.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Line item 536, establishment of community-based agriculture programs. Could the Honorable Minister identify where these establishments would be based, and what exactly will they be responsible for in terms of the programs?
I'll provide the locations in writing.
Thank you.
Member for Pointe-a-Pierre.
Thank you, Chair. Line item 538 to the Minister. In 2017, and I think it was part of the whole budget, it was the establishment of this packing house for fresh produce. Could you say what happened to this project and why it's not continuing or it's off the radar?
I just answered
Minister?
in response to Kuva South to say the packing house is going to be, the two are going to be the subject of an expressions of interest, and there's no provision there because NAMDEVCO, which is responsible for the packing house, holds in its account a surplus on account of previous funds allocated.
Item 004, social infrastructure, pages 177 and 178. Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 178 to 180. Infrastructure, Mayaro, member.
Mr. Chairman,
What page again?
we're on page 179.
Item?
General Public Services, items 205, 206, 207, 208. Minister, when you first started your contribution, you referred to a comment that I made in terms of the ability of the ministry to spend money, and that you would expound on that at some point in time when you make your contribution in the Senate. What I want to ask, and I'm looking at these 4 items, and Mr. Chairman, if you permit me just to read them out. Upgrade of the cadastral management information systems. In 2017, there was a $1 million estimate. Nothing was spent in 2017. Item 206, development of land management system, $500,000 estimated. Nothing spent in 2017. Line item 207, reestablishment of state agricultural land information system, $1 million was estimated in 2017. Again, nothing was spent. Line item 208, development of an electronic document management system for state lands, $500,000 estimated, nothing was spent. And looking at these 4 items, Minister, looking at the criticality of what are the end results if these systems are deployed in terms of land tenure, land management, I still stand by my comment that I feel that there is something hindering either you or your ministry or your ability to get these projects going based on the fact that allocations were made, barring that funding is made available. But really we should be trying harder to fight for that funding, taking note of the criticality of this. Any explanation as to why these things would not have been dealt with in the last fiscal year, Minister?
Minister?
Well, remember, there was a JSC dealing specifically with the issue of state land allocation and food production, which the report was laid, and the ministry has prepared its response. And the point I wanted to make is that some of these projects have to go through a cycle of, we're talking about an issue of state land management that dates back to 1962, a massive backlog of more than 30,000 files in relation to agricultural loan. So that what we did in the last fiscal was to work on the development of the project. Some of the hardware and software that were required were purchased under the general IT allocation under the PSIP. And in this fiscal, where we have to bring bodies in on a project basis to do, for example, to accelerate the electronic document management system, and to do some of the other work, the allocation will be used for that in this fiscal. But since we had the allocation under the general IT spend, the hardware and software were procured in the last fiscal under that item.
Infrastructure Development Fund, page 255. Item 003, Economic Infrastructure, pages 255 and 256. I recognize the member for Pointe-a-Pierre.
Thank you, Chair. To the Minister, line item 289. Could you provide a listing of the upgrades of the different fishing facilities? that you have targeted for 2018?
Well, I could tell you that the allocation is meant to deal with the Carenage fishing facility, which would come on stream at the end of this calendar year, and for the beginning of work on the proposed Alcan fishing facility on Alcan Bay, and that is what the allocation is for.
I think for Claxon Bay, I thought I saw something where I read Claxon Bay Fishing Depot was in the budget.
You did?
Yeah.
But that is what the allocation is for.
Member for Mayaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, as we on line item 289, fishing facilities, can you just give me an update as to where we're heading with the Galeota fishing facility and whether we're making any progress with the Ottawa facility?
The Ottawa facility, we expect to commission soon, and the Galeota facility, the Guayguayari fishing facility, we have some additional items which are going to be delivered to that facility in the next few weeks in support of what the government has committed to do to support value added in that particular area. We have some additional facilities that are going to be delivered to Guayguayari.
Item 004. Mutumanzelina, you have? Proceed.
Thank you. One question. 001 is a J, other services, is there, right? Could you, Honorable Minister, indicate what is the food basket program all about?
Minister.
That item is for infrastructure works or repair works in what is called the targeted food baskets in the country, where beyond what we have allocated for road repairs under the recurrent and under the PSIP, that is a specific item in the event we have to do work in one of the targeted areas.
Item 004, social infrastructure, page 256. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $771,704,362 for head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $771,704,362 for head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries, now stands part of the schedule. Thank you, Mr. Minister and Junior Minister and Permanent Secretary. Thanks for coming, and the other technocrats. Do have a good evening. We will now move on to head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. So as I welcome the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, $1,496,600,504. You all set, Mr. Minister? Welcome, Mr. Minister. Welcome, Permanent Secretary, and welcome to the other senior technocrats in the ministry. I will now invite the Minister of Housing and Urban Development to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes. Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Chair. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is responsible for the formulation and execution of government's policy in the housing and urban development sectors. The Ministry has overall responsibility in the implementation of relevant policy through its various units and affiliated agencies. The Ministry's core areas of responsibility include the provision of affordable housing solutions, home improvement and emergency repair grants, regularization of tenure for squatters under the State Land Regularization of Tenure Act, land settlement, urban development. There are 8 affiliated organizations or agencies which implement and promote the ministry's policies, plans, programs, and projects. The Trinidad and Tobago Housing Development Corporation, the Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, the Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company Limited, the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Committee, Land Settlement Agency, East Port of Spain Development Company Limited, Eastside Plaza, and New City Mall. Mr. Deputy Chair, thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $1,496,600,504 for Head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $1,496,600,504 for Head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure, the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure of the statutory boards and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly, and the draft estimates of the development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. And we go to page 312, subhead 01, personal expenditure, page 312. Item 001, general administration, page 312. Subhead 02, goods and services, page 312. Item 001, general administration, pages 312 to 313. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 313. Item 001, general administration, page 313. Subhead 04, current transfer and subsidies, page 314. Item 009, other transfers, page 314. I recognize the member for Urupuch East.
Very much, Mr. Deputy Chair. To the Minister, I'm focusing here on current transfers and subsidies.
Line item.
Line item 01, Trinidad and Tobago Housing Development Corporation.
Proceed.
Yeah. Minister, we take note here that the 2017 estimate would have been 354 million. There was a revised estimate for 2017 of 636.7 million. This represents, in a revised estimate for the same fiscal, an increase of 80% on that budgeted. Could I have an indication as to why this was revised by such a figure to 80%? You're dealing with 282 million, more or less. And why was there a need in the first place to increase by 80% to $282 million for the HDC in the fiscal 2017? I'll come to another question on the matter.
Okay, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. To the honourable member, you would recall in 2014 and 2015, the HDC would have contracted about $1.2 billion in loans from Answer Finance. The increase is allocated for the repayment of those loans.
Okay. Could the Minister confirm to me that the money in the Trinidad and Tobago Housing Development Corporation transfer subsidy 01, 282 million in excess, was to pay outstanding loans for the HDC? Is that what you're saying?
The increase?
Yes.
The increase, yes, the increase is for the repayment of loans.
So therefore, at transfers to state enterprises, at number 14, HDC interest payment
Hold
on
member,
that.
Member.
Okay.
What line item have you gone to?
But let me stay on the
You're going
Housing
ahead
Development Corporation. Yeah.
of the meeting at this time.
Could I then ask, for the 2018, you have an estimate of 672, which is a $35 million increase from 2017. Would this be sufficient to meet the demands of the program outlined both in the budget and in your presentation earlier in the debate, particularly the $50 million incentive program? Would that be found in here as well?
Mr. Minister.
You're speaking about the new housing initiatives?
Yes, correct.
Yes, that is an incentive provided for in the Ministry of Finance. But I can tell you that this subvention will take care of the HEC's recurrent expenditure as well as the repayment of the loans.
But in this subvention at 01, this includes the accelerated housing program.
No, it does not.
It does not include the
No.
accelerated. Okay. But the 50 million is coming from this or separately from the Ministry?
That is
of
from
Finance?
the Ministry of Finance.
Sure. Could I ask, therefore, on the Housing Development Corporation, what has been the experience with the public-private partnership program for the last fiscal?
Which line item is this?
The same one for the expenditure of the HDC, because it is a major HDC initiative.
Well, it's a major HDC initiative, but the HDC, it doesn't form part of the HDC's expenditure.
The public-private
Partnership, no, it does not.
So there's absolutely no expenditure out of the HDC on that program?
Well, the administration of the partnership is done within the normal recurrent expenditure. It's an administrative action.
Sure. Does the government, through the HDC, pay in a private partnership any expenditure to contractors for land development?
No.
Is there a guarantee by the Housing Development Corporation and or the Ministry of Finance for the private-public partnership?
No.
The private provider of homes under the PPP is expected to secure a loan with their own guarantee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I want to move to another area.
No,
but
hold
I
on,
don't have
I'm coming
colleagues.
there. I'm coming there. Item 011, Transfer and State Enterprises, pages 314 and 315. Rupuchis?
Mr. Concerning the UDICOT transfers and
01.
payments of loan, I'm looking at the bridge loan facility for UDICOT. Could you indicate whether this would include the monies outstanding on payments for the Magnificent 7 projects?
Which line item is this?
05.
05.
No, I can't at this time. I
You
can
can't?
get that to you in writing.
Okay, then could you provide in writing then, because I suspect you won't be able to for the others as well. From 01 to 23, could you just provide a small brief on what exactly those projects are meant to be payback for? Both principal and interest.
Remember, you said 2-3, but clearly identify the specific numbers, please. For the
Okay,
records.
for 01,
Right?
the 05, that is what I asked just now. 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, that would be it, to 12.
The
Could
matter
man-
you first asked was concerning item 05?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
05 was for the Couva Children's Hospital, Penal Hospital, Ministry of National Security, Police Stations, Phase 1.
Phase 1. Well, you would have answers for the rest, or you just want to take a note and...
Yeah, I'll provide it in the
Yeah,
interest
sure.
of time.
Could I ask as well, have the UDICOT issued a contract for the completion of works at Stallmeyer Castle?
Minister?
Which line item is this?
It is on the borrowing because the UDICOT has borrowed on that project.
Whether the UDICOT has borrowed? Well, when I provide you with the information,
You'll
you will
tell.
see. Yes.
So,
Subhead 06, Current Transfers to Statutory Boards and Similar Bodies, page 315. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of the statutory boards and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly. (18) Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Fund Administration, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 461, 001, General Administration, page 461. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 461, 001, General Administration, page 461. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 462. 001, General Administration, page 462. 54, Land Settlement Agency, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 470. 001, General Administration, page 470. Subhead 02.
Move from 64 to 70. Page 470
Okay,
on.
we are 54, Land Settlement Agency, subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 470.
You have finished sugar industry labor welfare?
Yes, sir, yes. I've been calling it through. Remember?
But there's a graph I wanted to ask one question on, but it's not under heading, so I didn't know that you had moved. Could I
What
just
page
ask
you
one
on,
question?
member?
466. It's just a quick question that would require.
466.
Page 466, is it? Details of expenditure?
And you are in the statutory boards and similar bodies.
Yes. Is it? Statutory boards and similar bodies, page 466.
466, page, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Minister, the development work for the Sugar Industry Labour Welfare Fund, I'm seeing estimate for 2017 here 63 million and revised estimate for 2017 at 8 million. Suggests that you were budgeting for work at 63 million and then you revised that you didn't need that type of money. What explains this? If you could just tell us now or put it in writing.
Mr. Minister.
We took some time to appoint a board at Silwick, so that would account for it.
Let me understand. You didn't spend about $55 million because you took some time to appoint a board?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Member for Couva South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Chair. Could the Minister advise at this meeting if there is any sums of monies being owed in terms of a refund to ex-employees of Caroni 1975
Line
Limited?
item, member.
In terms of
Page.
the whole administrative expenses of the sugar industry labor.
Member, there's a clear procedure. Page and line item. Under what? You're under the
Page.
Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Fund Administration.
Yes.
Based on that item, we need to be specific in terms of your line item,
Page.
comment, and question.
Page 466, Mr. Deputy Chair,
466.
administration expenses.
Okay. Right. Question?
Could the Minister inform this meeting if there is any sums of monies that are being owed to former employees of Caroni 1975 Limited in relation to down payment on lands that they would have been entitled to via the closure of Caroni 1975 Limited since
Minister, can you
2003.
assist?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. As I just told the honourable member would have written to my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture is not the line minister for Silwick, so that matter has recently been passed on to me, and I am looking into that matter, so I can confirm later in writing to you.
So that will be dealt with by the newly appointed board in terms of relinquishing the liabilities.
The matter has just been passed on to me. I'm investigating it, and I will report to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, fine. 54, Land Settlement Agency. Land Settlement Agency, we're going to. Right, okay, let me just read it. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 470. 001, General Administration, page 470. You're on that page, or you need to
I'm on
continue?
page 468, personal expenditure,
Yes, some members.
land settlement agency. I don't know, Deputy Chair, I don't know if we have the same book.
As this summary page, member.
Yes,
And the details come next, which will be coming up on page 470. Right. So just follow with me,
Yeah,
so that
sure.
you'll be able to identify your question.
Sure.
So General Administration, page 470, subhead 02, Goods and Services.
One, personal
Okay,
expenditure.
proceed.
Yeah, sure. Minister, from remuneration to board members, there's a 100% increase between 2016 and 2017 for the Land Settlement Agency. There will surely be an explanation. Could we have it?
Line item 06, Mr. Minister.
Personal expenditure 01, well, sorry, yeah, 06.
I'll have to give that to you in writing.
The 06
Yeah, 06, remuneration to board members.
remuneration to board members, 100% increase from 2016 to 2017. Okay, thank you.
Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 470. 001, General Administration, page 470. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 471. 001, General Administration, page 471. Subhead 04, Current Transfer and Subsidies, page 471. 007, Households, page 471. 009, Other Transfers, page 471. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. Development program, subhead 09, Consolidated Fund, page 132 of the new book, page 132, Consolidated Fund. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, page 132 to 135. Member for Opuchis.
If I could just ask the Minister on the development program. Again, there was a revised estimate here from 86 million to 117.
Line item.
And I'm at 09, breaking down to 236. 236, regularization and regeneration of communities, Greater Port of Spain area. The question is this is deemed to be a new project, a new line item. Could you indicate exactly what work what work would be done here as opposed to the Port of Spain East Development Company in this new line item of 236, but also 235. At 235, you have Rural Housing and Village Improvement Program, $5 million. It's a new project. Could I ask for both 235 and 236? Some explanation as to what exactly is that? That both together they take $10 million.
Mr. Minister.
With respect to line item 236, these are squatting communities, designated sites in the Port of Spain area. Emergency infrastructural works will be done in these areas over the next fiscal year.
Minister, could you just clarify for me? When you say squatter sites, these cannot be HDC buildings or HDC sites. This is what, squatter sites under the LSA?
Yes.
So this here deals with LSA, Land Settlement Agency?
Yes, Land Settlement Agency.
Fine. And 235?
And 235, this is indeed a new program that deals with the reduction or the elimination of poverty housing in areas all across Trinidad. It's similar to the grants that the ministry presently offers.
So is it a grant program?
It's a grant program. It will be done using the aided self-help approach, where persons can apply, get grants, targeted towards the poverty, the elimination of poverty housing.
Could you give us an example of a village improvement program that could be funded under the Ministry of Housing grant program now of?
There are ministries all over, there are rural villages all over Trinidad, in Sangre Grande, in Moruga, different areas.
And what would be the quantum of this grant?
We have not identified the details of the program as yet.
Okay. So we expect
within 2 months.
So we expect in the coming days to have some type of outline.
Within about 2 months.
Policy on the nature of the program,
Yes.
the quantum of the money to be provided,
Yes.
the policy for distribution. You'll get that in about 2 months.
Yes.
If it's possible, could you remember in 2 months to supply us with a copy?
I certainly will.
Thanks, member.
Yeah.
Member for Kumutu Manzelino.
Thank you. Just want to ask line item 234. What replaced the Land for the Landless program, if anything replaced it?
Mr. Minister.
The aided self-help program.
Just hold on. Kumutu. You didn't hear? Okay, Mr. Minister.
The aided self-help program.
So, Urupuchis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And my colleague from Komoto Manzanilla touched on an issue that I would like to follow up on. Indeed, in your presentation in the budget, we heard about this aided self-help housing program announcement. Could you direct me where here funding is provided for that program?
Yeah,
Mr. Minister.
there's no line item that
Okay.
treats with the program. The program will be administered through the Ministry of Housing and the LSA. But
Could
there's
you-
no additional funding
Or there's no funding for that program?
for that program, no.
Because as you can follow with me here, the Land for the Landless has no funding for 2018 because you have terminated by cabinet decision.
All right, but this particular vote treats with monies for pay to contractors for the development of the lots.
Which
that will-
particular vote? Just tell me the line.
This
item.
particular vote, 234, residential lots program, land for the landless.
Of which nothing is budgeted in 2018.
No, because we have closed the program.
You've closed.
Yeah.
So I'm asking now, so therefore, having closed that with no budget for land for the landless, properly done, you have also in place no budget for the aided self-help housing program.
This particular vote
Yeah.
is for the payment to contractors for the development of the lots,
Sure.
the land for the landless program. Those lots have now been developed. The aided self-help program will be funded by the normal recurrent expenditure within the Ministry of Housing and the LSA.
So I understand that thoroughly. So there will be no new land development in the coming fiscal under the aided self-help housing program.
As I indicated in my budget presentation, we presently have 1,500 lots to be allocated in the first cycle, and in the second cycle, we will identify surplus EMBD lots and other lots all across Trinidad for allocation in the second cycle.
Minister, could you provide in writing, because you clearly would not be able to now, a breakdown of those 1,500 lots, where they are, if they are completed or yet to be completed, those 1,500
Sure.
lots, and also the lots that you are intending to take from the EMBDC, where those are they finished, completed, and when would you be in a position to distribute these lots that have been completed?
Sure.
Could I go on? You have something else right here? My colleague has a question.
You have another question? I'll deal with you one time, member. You go ahead, and then I'll go to Komoto Manzanilla.
Deputy Chairman, you're threatening to deal with me one time?
No.
I mean...
Proceed,
yes.
proceed.
I'm accustomed to that. Anyway, Mr. Deputy Speaker, 293, line item 293. Could I ask a question? We're seeing also a new project item here, Minister. It is Home Ownership 101, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Could you just indicate briefly, what really is Home Ownership 101 that you will need $1 million to execute?
Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. Home Ownership 101, I would have indicated this new program in my budget presentation. This is basically a manual. The $1 million is an estimated cost to produce the manual. This is a manual that would treat with all matters related to home ownership that would be made available for citizens.
Matters like what, just for example?
Matters in terms of house construction, in terms of approvals, in terms of legislation, landlord and tenant matters, in terms of real estate agencies, in terms of mortgages. So it's a manual that is aimed at educating the public.
Sure. Could I ask, at 292, Minister, you have the Emergency Shelter Relief Fund.
Yes.
I see head office here. This is the DP we are looking at. In 2017, you had $1 million revised, and you go for the same 20. Could we have an account in writing of the 2017 fiscal, what has been done under the Emergency Shelter Relief Fund? Homes provided, whatever it is, that use the
grants.
1 million, the grants.
Yes.
And could you, to refresh our memory, put in writing as well the policy guidelines for the Emergency Shelter Relief Fund?
Sure. I'll refresh your memory.
Right, sure. Member for Kumutu Manzilina.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, just following up on my colleague with the aided housing, you gave a list of questions to be put in writing. And if you can also include in that, how will be what is the process? Because there are a number of persons who would have been, who would have gone through a lottery system and would have been entitled and qualified already, and therefore what will happen with those persons who would be waiting for their allocation. And also, if you can expand on line item 237, please. Thank you.
So that will be provided in writing, Mr. Minister?
Sure.
Lovely. Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Mr. Minister, this program that replaced the land for the landless program is aid for what again?
Aided self-help housing program.
Again,
Could you
member for Couva South, you continue to do it line item so that we wouldn't have the turn and froing.
I'm sorry, Deputy Chair. Line item 234.
Residential lots program.
Yeah. Is there any plan on the part of the government of Trinidad and Tobago to take sites which have been prepared for the distribution of lands that are being owed to the ex-Caroni workers for distribution for residential purposes and incorporate them into this new program?
No.
Thank you very much.
Urupuchis.
Chairman, if I could take the Minister to 086. In 086, Minister, you'll notice that there was no estimate for 2017, but there was a revised estimate for 1.2 million for fence line communities. Are these fence line communities work under the sugar welfare, the LSA, or the HDC?
It's sugar welfare.
Sugar welfare. Minister, could I ask then if you could give us, in writing at a later time, the breakdown of works done and also some type of analysis of the, I dare say, contractors being owed monies. I don't need checks necessarily, but if you could give us some indication of how much have been paid and what are the outstanding sums to contractors in the Sugar Industry Labour Welfare Fund who have done fence line work and are yet to be paid, if you can see it in writing.
Certainly.
Minister, right, will be provided.
Certainly.
Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 135. Member for Urupuchis.
Right. We are on 135. Minister, Public Buildings 002. There's a new project here called Development and Management of Property. Would you care to
Where
tell
is
us?
this? I'm sorry, where is this?
002. I'm on page 135. You with me?
135, yes.
At 002, a new project, Development and Management of Property. Could we just get an indication of what really is this business?
Right. Yeah. If you know Independence Square, just next to the New City Mall, there is a shell of a building. That is 43 Independence Square. It's owned by the government. And this particular line item, the allocation is for the refurbishment of that property and for the creation of an incubator facility similar to Eastside Plaza and New City Mall.
Minister, if that is to say, you could just have to put refurbishment of property at Independence Square. Okay. Why is it named Development and Management of Property? That gives a generic feel that there was some work to be done throughout the country managing property and developing property. It is one property you're going to develop.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Honorable Member, I'm sorry, I don't write these terms.
Maybe
or these headings or these titles.
Maybe as your ministry should get involved in it.
Perhaps
Could I continue?
Next question?
Yes. The upgrading to East Side Plaza, 2 million. Mr. Deputy Chairman, here, some mutterings from Lavantil West there, and he's disturbing my train of thought. He's saying something about checks and so on.
Members,
entitled to contribute in this committee. The member for Oropouche East suggested to the Minister of Housing that he get involved in HDC affairs, and I simply advise my colleague, don't accept no checks on behalf of no contractors.
Okay, thank you. Member for Oropouche East. Question, point? No.
Question, I can reply.
No.
Let me continue. Could I continue?
Oropouche East, we're on page 135.
Oropouche, I want to take objection to Oropouche East and so on. I think there should be more respect. We like some more respect for the constituency from all members. Yeah. I think it's a sign of contempt for the people of
Member for Oropouche East. Member for Oropouche East.
Thank you.
Let's go on with the people's business.
Thank you. Might be race or something. Yes. Upgrading of East Side Plaza. Could I indicate, Minister, if we can get in writing at some time a sense of the $2 million, what was done in 2017 with the upgrading of East Side Plaza, just a sense of what was done with the expenditure allocated there?
Right. Member for Pointe-à-Pied, you have a question on page 134. Yeah.
To the Minister, 002 line item, social and economic program for East Port of Spain. You spent $5 million in 2017. Could you provide a listing of the programs and the quantums?
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Infrastructure Development Fund, page 237. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, page 237. Yes. Member for Oropouche East.
Under the Infrastructure Development Fund, Mr. Deputy Chairman. Mr. Deputy Chairman, I'm aware I have 5 minutes to ask a question, but I'll take less. We have here the Accelerated Housing Program, specifically.
Specifically.
Right, thank you. And we have had an increase in the 2017 estimate from 160 to 216. I just wanted to have an indication of what would have contributed to that in the Accelerated Housing Program. So I don't think it would be repayment of loans per se here. And
these are for ongoing construction works.
Could you list now or put in writing the ongoing construction works that would have accounted for this increase of about 56 million?
I can tell you now there are about 23 developments under construction. So these are for the ongoing construction.
You could tell me now or you could put it in writing. If you want to tell me the 23.
You want each project?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Will be provided.
Are there any projects that you are particularly interested in, or you want all?
If it's 23, it's not that much, is it? Yeah.
Many, yeah.
So you can put that in writing and tell us the new projects. Could you indicate what are the new projects started from 2016 as opposed to ongoing projects? Because your 23, you said were ongoing projects. The new projects started from turning of the sod from 2016 under the Accelerated Housing Program. You could put that in writing as well, sure, if you so choose. Under Accelerated Housing Program, could I also have from you, so a status, you can give it now because it's something I think you may know offhand, on the Mount Hope, I believe, public-private partnership HDC initiative involving NH International. What is the status of that project?
That doesn't fall part of the Accelerated Housing Program.
What does it fall part of?
That's the PPP program.
That is outside of the HDC?
No, it's outside of the Accelerated Housing Program.
Okay, sure, no problem. Could I ask, in the period 2016 to 2017 to date, which we are looking at, has the HDC started and completed and distributed any housing from a housing project?
Okay.
Mr. Minister.
Yes or no?
You will get that in writing.
Where's yes or no?
We will get it in writing.
Okay, you'll put yes or no in writing?
I will.
Okay, sure. Minister, could you indicate to us in writing, if you so choose, or thing, what is the new policy for home distribution, housing unit distribution?
I'm not sure if that's relevant to the housing construction program.
But the distribution of public goods and services built by taxpayers' money
is a serious policy issue emanating from the expenditure of public funds.
But I'm not seeing it in the line item. I don't see how it's
Well,
relevant to the
accelerating
line
housing
item.
program is a bill house. We're asking you on what
It's the
basis.
housing construction program.
Yeah, and when you construct, it's to distribute goods and services to citizens and so on. So if you feel that this is not within the line item, I'm fine with that.
Remember,
I mean, it's
Minister,
not
the
something
manual
I'm-
that you have to provide.
I would
that
not
would
in
be
any
part
way
of-
seek to
considered part of
badger.
that? Okay. All right, let's move on, member.
Minister, under the accelerated housing program, the construction program, in the last fiscal, I believe you completed the Victoria Keys housing estate. Could we have either now or in writing the policy used by the HDC to distribute those units?
Sure.
Could we also indicate in doing that the cost and the total, I would like to get please the total applicants, all persons who applied for units at Victoria Keys as part of the
Okay,
distribution.
sure. No problem.
Well, the colleagues in front are disturbing my questioning. to
Do
the
you have any
minister.
more questions?
Yes,
Which
sir.
is-
Yes, sir.
Members,
I'm not hearing now.
What's that?
I'm not. The minister is occupied with the colleagues in the
members. Go
front.
ahead.
I don't have the attention of the minister.
You have my full attention.
Thank you. Minister, for Victoria Keys, I would like the names of all applicants, the names of the successful applicants,
Deputy Chairman.
and the cost per unit.
Mr. Deputy Chairman, let me just repeat. The accelerated housing program is the housing construction program. Out of this line item, monies are allocated and utilized for the payment of contractors for the construction of homes. That has nothing to do with the allocation of Victoria Keys.
Right. Next question.
To clarify that you will talk about the construction of homes, but you are not prepared to talk about the distribution of housing.
Member, let's move on.
It's fine. Could I also ask the status of construction, of three housing estates, the Fairfield, Union Hall, and Cypress?
Member,
Mr.
the
Deputy
minister
Chairman.
said he will provide all 23 as identified. There is no need to ask for any specific housing. He will provide it.
In relation to that, ask for the list of outstanding payments owed to contractors in the HDC.
What line item?
Accelerated housing program is a construction program.
Minister, that could be
Could I
provided.
ask the minister to provide information on outstanding payments owed
What
to
period?
contractors during the period 2016 to 2018? The ministers in front are shouting no,
Member, you
no,
proceed.
no,
You proceed.
but they are interfering with my line of questioning to the minister.
I hardly doubt.
The answer is no, that's currently under investigation.
Hold on. Could then I ask member for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's, the housing development program, the list owned to contractors, that is under an investigation by who?
Everything at the HDC under your tenure is under investigation.
Okay, members.
Mr. Deputy Chairman,
Listen, members.
could I, well then everything
Listen.
I asked about the HDC, the minister was not forthright. He promised certain information to me, and now I'm hearing that I can't get any information at all because every single thing at the HDC is under investigation. Mr.
Member.
Deputy Chairman, what is
Member.
this is happening?
Member, hold on. Rest assured, whatever has been identified that the minister to
Correct.
provide will be provided.
The Spain North St. Anne's West must say that.
Any
He
more
said-
questions?
He
Mr.
said that
Chairman?
everything at the
Member.
HDC is under.
Member for Uropuch East. Any more questions?
Frankly, I don't think I could ask anything
No.
more given this
No.
position of
So
the
that means
government.
no.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Hold on. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $1,496,600,504 for Head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, stand part of the schedule. Members, those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $1,496,600,504 for Head 61, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, now stands part of the schedule. Mr. Minister, I thank you, Permanent Secretary, and the senior technocrats of the ministry. Do have a good evening. No comments. Head 28, Ministry of Health. I'll just give the Minister of Health and his technocrats to come in. Head 28, Ministry of Health, $5,302,113,490. Head 28. And we're going to page 192, members, in the recurrent expenditure. Welcome, Mr. Minister. Welcome to your senior staff. I will now invite the Minister of Health to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes.
Thank you,
As soon as you're
Chairman.
ready, sir.
First of all, I would like, on behalf of our side, I think I should congratulate our colleague, the member for Couva North, for giving birth to her second child. Chairman, the Ministry of Health and the RHAs have made some significant progress in the past 2 years. In making that progress, we realize there's still a very long way to go before the taxpayer of this country gets value for money for the $6 billion plus that goes into the Ministry of Health. Some of our major accomplishments has been the reduction of maternal mortality rates in Trinidad and Tobago, a positive impact on infant mortality rates, the clearing up of backlogs for some surgeries. But I think the game changer, and if I had to borrow a term from the budget presentation, shifting the paradigm, has to be the launch, implementation of the non-communicable diseases plan, which is long, long overdue in Trinidad and Tobago. The reduction of NCDs is critical because if we don't get a handle on NCDs, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and some cancers, no government will be able to pour enough money into health to treat. This government has a cabinet-approved NCD plan, and the aim is to change the culture of Trinidad and Tobago from one of treatment of disease to one of prevention of disease. In coming to a close with my open comments, I want to say that I, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of all my colleagues, stand firmly behind and with the Minister of Finance in this budget. This is not a calm inward budget. This is a budget of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And we stand with our Prime Minister, we stand with our Minister of Finance, who is the principal architect, and we stand with our Minister of Planning and Development. This is a budget that will secure the long-term future of all workers in Trinidad and Tobago, their children and their grandchildren. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $5,302,113,490 for Head 28, Ministry of Health, stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $5,302,113,490 for Head 28, Ministry of Health, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads, and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure, draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of the statutory boards and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly, and the draft estimates of the development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, Item 001, General Administration, page 192, and I recognize the member for Faizabad.
To the Minister, line item 14, Minister, remuneration to members of Cabinet-appointed committees.
Also, we have moved to 14.
No, sorry, on the same page, page 192,
Yeah,
item
192,
14.
line
Same
item
page.
14.
Sure.
Yeah. If you can indicate how many Cabinet-appointed
Sure.
committees are currently functioning?
16.
Okay. So the increase of $1 million reflects an increase for the same number of committees?
Well, you have to remember that many of these committees were not fully operationalized under your tenure. Under our tenure, we have actually reinvigorated a lot of these committees, so that's the reason.
Right. Can you indicate the committees in
Sure.
writing and the membership?
Sure.
Thank you.
Council of the Pharmacy Board of Trinidad and Tobago, Clinical Assessment Committee, Private Hospitals Board, Pesticides and Toxic Chemical Control Board, Drug Advisory Committee, Food Advisory Committee, Opticians Registration Council, Psychiatric Hospital Tribunal, Council for Professions Related to Medicine, Council for Medical Board of Trinidad and Tobago, Antimicrobial Resistance Coordinating Committee, a brand new one, Nursing Council of Trinidad and Tobago. Those are some of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chagonas West.
Thank you. Under line item 01, salaries and cost of living allowance. Minister, there are newspaper reports of a lot of young doctors who are unemployed. Under this item, can they be utilized in the primary health care?
Mr. Minister.
When you say young doctors, what are you referring
Those
to?
who have
Interns?
now come out of the internship.
Interns, okay. The government took a decision recently to approve new positions for interns, and I am happy to say that as far as interns are concerned, almost all the people qualified as interns have in fact been employed at the RHAs. The last batch received their letters for a cycle starting in October. So we have done that. I could give you the breakdown. Cabinet by 2004 had approved 176 positions. Cabinet 2010, 120 positions, giving you 297. This government, hearing the plights of those interns, took a decision in July of 2017 to approve 75 more positions, giving you a grand total of 372.
So I take it now that all those interns are accounted for?
Yes, sir.
Item 004, vertical services, page 193. Member for Faisabad.
Chairman, Minister, with regards to salaries and cost of living allowance 01,
Yes,
I'm just trying to find out with regards to the appointment of the Director of Women's Health, under which head that a payment has been made, and the staff of the Director of Women's Health. I'm not sure if that's the appropriate item.
That was earlier. Remember, this particular head, 004 Vertical Services, Director of Women's Health, does not fall under Vertical Services.
Can you indulge me, Minister, and indicate where it falls?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find out under the line item.
So what I'm saying, the Director of Women's Health does not fall under this line item.
That you asked already. So you very well know too.
Thank you.
It will be under another line item.
Okay, 005 Northwest Regional Health Authority, page 193.
Just one question to the Minister. 00501, salaries and cost of living allowances. And it transcends all the other regional health authorities.
Sorry?
That will transcend, my question transcends all the other regional health authorities. About the house officers who have not been employed. If you could just give us some information on that.
Well, this particular line item has to do with Ministry of Health, public officers, if I'm correct. You're referring to 01 salaries and COLA?
No, I'm just using that. The salaries and cost of living, 00501, the salaries and cost of living. I know it's related to the...
Yes.
But I'm looking at... This is internal
This
ministry
is for
staff.
internal ministry
That
staff.
question is not relevant.
It does not apply to this line item.
Not a relevant question.
That's why I...
No, I was just asking it in advance. This so is I'll wait internal until ministry staff. Wait until you get to the correct line item. Behave.
We will deal with it in the correct line item.
006 North Central Regional Health Authority, 007, Eastern Regional Health Authority. 008, Southwest Regional Health Authority. 009, National Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention, which is at page 199. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 200.
Skip.
Okay, sorry. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 196. Item 001, General Administration. Item 004, Vertical Services.
What?
Ready?
Yes.
Just on subheading 39, drugs and other related materials and supplies, there is a $630 million subvention. Could you just indicate, and there's an increase of 65
Yes.
million? Could I get an indication of what that is?
Okay, so this allocation relates to NIPDEC, the PAHO Strategic Fund, and the EPI for pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical items.
And you should note that the allocation
is
less than the original allocation for 2017. What was actually spent in 2017 was less than the original, and this is also less than the original.
That's why there's a shortage of drugs then?
No.
No, it isn't.
No, at all.
right.
There's
Behavior-
efficiency,
behavior-
cutting out
There's
waste,
efficiency.
mismanagement, and corruption.
Behavior,
Getting
sir.
more for
Behavior,
less,
sir.
more for less.
Behavior, sir. Finish.
Okay. Item 005, Northwest Regional Health Authority. Item 006, North Central Regional Health Authority. Item 007, Eastern Regional Health Authority. Member for Kamuto Mansinilla. Page 198. No, go ahead. Item
Question on the 00801 and 01 and all the others, 5, 6, 7. Have the traveling officers received their monies that they were supposed to obtain for their VAT payments and motor vehicle tax on traveling officers, Minister?
By information is once they have applied, the answer is
They
yes.
have been getting it. Okay. At least
Exemptions.
they're paying something.
These thousands of traveling officers,
Item
they get exemptions.
009, National Alcohol
On
and
cars.
Drug Abuse Prevention.
$66, hosting of conferences, seminars, etc. I'm just looking here, there's no allocation at all for any hosting of conference, seminars for NADAP. Any special reason why?
We will revisit this for the mid-year review, sir.
Okay.
Then
The reason
they can move
addiction is a
funds
serious
around.
problem, and I think they do a good
We
job on
also
it.
use the ministry's hosting.
They can move things around.
Yeah.
Okay, subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 200. Item 001, General Administration. Item 004, Vertical Services. Item 009, National Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies, page 201. Item 001, Regional Bodies. Item 003, United Nations Organizations. Item that's item 011. That's international one. Item 001, International Bodies. Item 005, Non-Profit Institutions, page 201 and 202. Member for Faisabad.
Minister, with regards to item 20,
Yes.
contribution to non-profit institutions, can you indicate perhaps in writing how these funds will be allocated, the 18 million?
Yes.
969,000?
Yes, will do.
Which bodies involved and
Sure.
the amount allocation?
Member for Princestown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honourable Minister, on the same line item, could you indicate whether or not there are any applications that are currently pending to be considered for contributions for non-profit institutions with respect to Ministry of Health?
Yes.
Can you indicate which ones?
I'll do that in writing for you, sir.
Okay, and in terms of what is the process to be considered and whether or not there will be additions subsequent to this listing?
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 007, households. Member Baratarisano.
One, medical treatment of nationals in institution
Yes,
has
sir.
been decreased by $12 million.
Mhm.
Is that the APP program,
Yes, it
medical
is.
aid program?
Yes.
It has been decreased?
Yes. For good reason, we are now focusing on efficiency, and we are not outsourcing services to the private sector. We are doing a lot more in the public sector.
Item 009, other transfers. Member for Faisabad.
Madam Chair, Minister, with regards to item 01, Regional Health Authority.
Yes.
The expenditure of 161,900,000, and I see the breakdown here. Of particular interest is a vacant post and an allocation of 20 million. Can you indicate, maybe in writing, what those vacant posts might
Sure.
be? Also, in addition to that, with regards to items 3 and 4, pediatric cardiac surgery.
Yes.
And gynecological cancer screening and surgery, can you indicate the expected number of cases that these
Sure.
allocations will fund?
Will do.
And with regards to item 9, legal settlement, just out of interest, with the 2017, can you give me the 2017 allocation or expenditure with regards to legal
Okay.
settlement in the ministry?
That will be provided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member for Baratarisano.
Yeah, on same heading, Regional Health Authority, in number 5, vacant posts. I think we could bring in the question here about the number of house officer positions that are available and how many house officers have not been employed as a result of decreased posts. Or will that take care of it?
I can give you that now.
Yeah, sure.
So as far as house officers are concerned, the number currently employed, Southwest Regional Health Authority, 460, Northwest, 198, Eastern, 122, North Central, 419, giving you a total of 1,199.
Can I ask, Minister, have there been any, is there any house officers who have not, who have applied, have not been employed?
Yes.
What's the figure?
Some house officers decline the positions for a variety of reasons. One, they do not get into the particular specialty that they want. Two, some find that the distance travel is too far. Some want a priority bus route pass because they are afraid of traffic and so on.
Minister, can you indicate in those categories in numbers, do you have a total of those numbers?
I can get that for you, sir.
And the second point would be how many house officers remain to be employed?
Sure.
Who have applied and who have no reason to decline the position?
Sure.
Can you provide
Sure.
that figure now? or-
Yes. No,
Right, in writing.
not now, in writing.
Thank you.
Member for Kamuta Mansinilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Honorable Minister, you mentioned that there were 122 for Eastern Regional Authority, and I just wanted to know if, not now, if it is all the positions are filled.
I can get that for you.
November. Thank you.
I have it here in a spreadsheet. I could send it for you.
Okay. 010, other transfers abroad. PAHO. 011, other transfers abroad. National Health Service Company Limited.
What page? 204.
We're now on page 204.
Wow.
We now go on to subhead.
Those and subsidies? We'll behave yourself now.
Wait, just 1 minute. 1 minute. We went 010 other transfers about PAHO, which is at the bottom of 203.
I want to speak a little bit about the 4009, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Why is there such a decrease?
Yeah, but what happened is...
What happened here?
We were at 009 other transfers, which included all of those, 01, 04, etc.
I mean, no problem. I mean, it's just that the decrease is so large.
Just 1 minute. Kumuta Mansinala, where are you?
203. I have questions on 03 and 09, 9 items.
All right, so members, just 1 minute. Are there any questions on 10 and 11, which is PAHO and National Health Service Company Limited, which are the bottom of page 203 and 204? No? Okay, fine. So I realize we must be getting a little tired. So I will allow us, we collectively. So I will allow us, I'm allowing Barataria Sanwo 2 questions. I'm allowing you 1 question.
One question.
Sure.
The decrease of the regional health authorities is significant. Any special reason why, rather than the usual rhetoric that the Minister of Finance gives?
Okay. Under the Northwest Regional Health Authority...
Madam Chairman, I object to that.
I will explain...
No, wait.
Okay.
Stop. I object to that. The member can't say the usual rhetoric. There are reasons for these things. It's not rhetorical, it's factual.
For the Northwest Regional Health Authority, in fiscal 2018, they are not obligated to pay any salary arrears for the monthly staff. That is a big chunk of it. 2, reduction in security costs of approximately $6 million annually. We have discovered a lot of things there. Reduction in rental facilities. We are negotiating with private patient suppliers to reduce costs in treating patients. We are also with the, as I explained to you, with the EPP and so on, and other cost-saving strategies. Yesterday, we saved $7 to $10 million alone at North Central by providing 53 surgeries in 3.5 days, whereas Eric Williams traditionally will do 8 per year. That's the type of savings and efficiencies we are bringing across all the RHAs.
And Madam
Only
Chairman.
asked one so far.
Yeah, that's why I allowed you
one
to.
more.
Yeah, and Madam
One
Chairman.
more question.
Just 1 minute.
Hold a
Just
minute.
1 minute. The Minister of Finance wants to add some clarification.
To understand some facts. The back pay that we paid in 2017 in the regional health authorities was in the vicinity of $500 million. That is no longer required in 2018. So the decrease is far less than $500 million, which means more allocations have been made to the RHAs in reality rather than less. So don't accuse me of rhetoric.
Like that?
And just to say, in the case of Eastern, with that explanation, they are actually getting an increase of 56.7 million.
Increases across the board, man.
So they are increases, net increases.
One more question, Minister. National Cancer Registry, I see you have 0.7 million. Do you have a director for that?
Not as yet.
Okay.
Member for Kamuta Mansinala.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 09, school health program. Can the Honorable Minister indicate how many schools or children will benefit from this program, and how does the ministry intend to target, what criteria will be used to target the schools?
Okay, these are to target children for hearing tests, audio testing, and eyeglasses. I could provide you with a list of schools, but that's what it's for.
Okay. So, honorable members, we now go on to subhead 06, current transfers to statutory boards and similar bodies. And if we can go to the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of the statutory boards and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly, we are at page 179. 14, Princess Elizabeth Home for the Handicapped. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, 001, General Administration, page 179. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, 001, General Administration, page 179. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies, 007, Households, page 179. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. New book. Subhead 09, Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 77. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, pages 77 to 79. Item 005, Multi-Sectoral and Other Services, pages 79. Member for Faizabad.
Page 78, item 018.
Are we on multi-sectoral? Yeah, but are we on item 005, multi-sectoral and other services?
No, ma'am, I was under other services. I didn't
Okay.
realize you had moved on so quickly.
All right, so,
I'm only telling you I want right now.
all right, so we will take Faizabad, and then we'll move on to you. And I'll just ask members, I know the print is very small, and that might trip us up, but that's why I've called the pages. Member for Faizabad.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, line item 018. We're on page 78.
Page 78.
Yeah. With regards to the establishment of a renal dialysis center, can you give us an update as to, is this referred to the 2 renal dialysis centers?
Yes.
Can you give us an update as to what is the status?
I will give you an update in writing. Thank
That's
you.
fine. Thank you.
Member for Bartari Sanwan.
This 005.
Right.
234, Hospital Refurbishment Program.
Yeah.
45 million. You want to expand on that, Minister?
Sure. I have a whole spreadsheet here. Would you like me to go through item by item?
Proceed.
Hospital refurbishment. Okay, just get at this quickly. Page what?
79.
79.
005 on 234.
On the C.
On the C. C234.
Right, hospital refurbishment. Northwest, electrical upgrade for St. Anne's Hospital, a rollover project from last fiscal into the next fiscal. Renovation of Ward 202 and construction of a second operating theatre at the Port of Spain General Hospital. Renovation of the Allied building to include the biomedical department. Supply of 4 generators for Success Laventille Health Center, Upper Laventille Health Center, St. George Central Head Office, and St. George West CMOH building. Eastern Regional Health Authority, completion and construction work on Central Stores and Pharmacy building. Air conditioning, upgrade works including supply and installation of centralized air conditioning system, lower floor facility of accident and emergency department, upgrade of the electrical system including refurbishment of the kiosk room, repainting of interior and exterior walls, replacement of gypsum ceiling at the Rio Claro Health Center, upgrade of the Sangre Grande Hospital Network refurbishment program, construction, renovation of staff quarters within close proximity to the Grand Riviere Outreach Center, a dedicated operating theater for the maternity unit at the Sangre Grande Hospital. It's in the design phase. Replacement of air conditioning units in Ward 1 and Ward 2 under the Southwest Regional Health Authority to supply a new 180-ton chilled water air-cooled unit. Upgrade of the labor ward. Phase 3 is now in progress. Labor ward roofing, including the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. Conversion of all Ward 14 area to house the hemodialysis unit. Upgrade of the Regional Administration Center. Would you like me to give it to you in writing or call out?
No. I'm happy. Could you just tell me if the electrical services of Sandy Grande Hospital is there?
We will supply to you in writing.
Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, I'm on line item 250, Health Services Support Program. Can you indicate to us what that is, what it involves, please?
250. Okay, Health Services Support Program. This has to do with the NCD project, which I spoke about earlier. It has to do with component 1, implementation of the strategic plan to battle non-communicable diseases. That's what that is for. It will include the Diabetes in Pregnancy program, which is a very important program, the Healthy Schools initiative across all schools in Trinidad and Tobago.
Member for Baratarisano.
Minister,
Sure.
we've been speaking about a linear accelerator for St. James.
Yes.
But I'm not seeing nothing there in 2018 for that.
Well, if you would look under 001, equipment and vehicles, that has now been moved to another line item because we have gone past the tender stage and we are going to go into the award and...
They say purchase, you know.
Yeah.
This line item is purchase.
Yeah.
So basically, that's where, you know, that's why I was throwing it out.
No problem.
Okay.
Infrastructure Development Fund, same book, page 209. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, pages 209 and 210. Member for Baratarisano.
Minister, just in the, a little bit on the National Oncology Center, number one is it's only $5 million being given to that. Could you give me the status of that, or you want to give us in writing?
The National Oncology Center is before the Finance and General Purposes Committee.
And also the construction of the Cuba Hospital is nothing has been given. And I understand that you were going to, have you finished construction of that hospital?
My information is the construction as originally designed is finished, but there are certain deficiencies that need to be addressed.
No, it says nothing was given in line item.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Member for Faisaban.
Oh, already yes.
Okay. Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 210. Member for Baratarisano.
003, redevelopment of Port Hospital. Is that the central block?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $5,302,113,490 for head 28, Ministry of Health, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $5,302,113,490 for head 28, Ministry of Health, now stands part of the schedule. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, yes, another officers. Head 17, Personnel Department. Head 17, Personnel Department, $57,740,000. Before. I now invite the Minister of Finance to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes.
The Personnel Department includes the Office of the Chief Personnel Officer, who sets terms and conditions for public officers.
Honorable members, The question is that the sum of $57,740,000 for Head 17 Personnel Department stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $57,740,000 for Head 17 Personnel Department is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Subhead 01, Personnel, page 74. Item 001, General Administration, Member for Naparima.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Item 01, Salaries and Cost of Living Allowance. And I see 15 million has been allocated. And the question I would like to ask, and this is in the context of what we heard this morning, when we asked the question about what was the reason for the large number of contract officers in the THA. The Minister of Finance indicated that because there was a problem in the personnel department in terms of what
say that
Service Commission.
You're mistaken, wrong head, wrong item.
Service
That's
Commission.
the Service Commission. That's not this item.
Okay, I withdraw the question.
Thank you.
Subhead, Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 08, vacant post, salaries and COLA, we have an estimate of $1 million. Could we get some clarification what vacant posts are existing out there and what will be filled by this $1 million allocation?
We'll provide that to you in writing.
Okay.
Subhead 02, Goods and Services. Item 001, General Administration, pages 74 to 75. Member for Oropuch West.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, how many officers we have as traveling officers who get traveling and subsistence, and what are some of the benefits that accrue to them?
01.
Which head is that?
0201.
Yeah, traveling and subsistence, which is 01.
01? Where are you?
02000101.
Page 74.
You're going back there?
No,
And
we
Goods
didn't
and
go back.
Services, General Administration.
You want to know how many traveling officers there are?
Yes, and
Okay,
what
we'll
are
provide
some-
that in writing.
And any benefits accrue to them with respect to purchase of vehicles and so?
You'll get that in writing.
Thank you.
Member for Couva South. Do you have a question? Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 0200116 contract employment. In terms of the increase in allocation to $5 million, could the meeting be advised of how many posts will be created in terms of contract employment?
As you are aware, there is a problem throughout the service with the filling of vacancies. This is designed to partially deal with that problem. With respect to the contract positions within the personnel department, we'll provide that in writing.
Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With respect to line item 28, Minister, might you be able to give us some details as to what will constitute other contracted services for $3 million?
It's just purchases of a general nature.
Member for Kamutu Mansinilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 23 fees. Can the Minister indicate what accounts for this increase, this big increase in fees, for fees? Thank you.
That's for proprietary licenses for software.
Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 76. Item 001, general administration. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies. Item 001, regional bodies, page 76. Item 004, international bodies. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. Page 50, subhead 09, development program consolidated fund. Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 50. Honorable Member for Kamuta Mansinala.
Thank you. If the Honorable Minister could please advise on line item 034, 036, 037, 038. How will this, it will be conducted, if it is a local company or international, and what was the procurement process, please? Thank you.
Different, I was going to say different strokes for different folks, but it's different types of consultancy for different ones. We could give you a list and explain which one is local, foreign, etc.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $57,740,000 for head 17 personnel department stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $57,740,000 for head 17 personnel department now stands part of the schedule. Thank you, CPU and members of the personnel department. You all are discharged. Head 09, Tax Appeal Board. Head 09, Tax Appeal Board, $4,762,660. I will now invite the Minister of Finance to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Tax Appeal Board is a superior court of record which handles appeals on assessments of tax.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $4,762,600 for head 9, Tax Appeal Board stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $4,762,660 for head 9, Tax Appeal Board is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of the development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. We are at page 48. Subhead 01, personal expenditure, page 48. Item 001, general administration, page 48. Subhead 02, goods and services, item 001, general administration, pages 48 and 49. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, item 001, general administration, page 50. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. Subhead 09 Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 15. Item 005 Multi-sectoral and other services, page 15. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $4,762,660 for head 9 tax appeal board stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $4,762,660 for head 09 tax appeal board now stands part of the schedule. I thank the representatives from the tax appeal board. I want to change the approach for this. 04, Industrial Court. Head 04, Industrial Court, $25,165,108. I will now invite the Minister of Finance to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes.
The Industrial Court is established by law to handle industrial disputes.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $25,165,108 for head 04 Industrial Court stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $25,165,108 for head 04 Industrial Court is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of the development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. We are at page 21. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure. Item 001, General Administration, page 21. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. Item 001, General Administration, page 21 and page 22. Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 16 contract employment. Could the Minister tell us in what areas will this increase of 390,000 be utilized from the point of view of contract employment?
This is simply to ensure that adequate funds are available for contract officers in the industrial court. It's not an increase in the complement of contract officers, simply to make sure that everyone who is employed is paid. You may recall in the mid-year review we had to do a supplementary allocation. So we don't want to repeat.
It is good to know that you are looking after the salaries of employees.
Definitely. We always do.
Item 002 South Office, page 23. Item 003 Tobago Office, page 23. Subhead 03 Minor Equipment Purchases, page 24. Item 001 General Administration. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. Subhead 09, Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 7. Item 005, Multi-sectoral and other services, page 7. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $25,165,108 for head 04 Industrial Court stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $25,165,108 for Head 04, Industrial Court, now stands part of the schedule. I thank the members of the District Court. Reach home safely. Honorable members, the Standing Finance Committee is suspended to Friday, 20th of October, 2017 at 10 a.m.